All right, so on this third video, we are going to expand um, still a bit more about the idea of plan that we talked about last time in Capricorn. Um, if you remember, at the beginning of the year, I did a numerology presentation for the whole of 2022. So that can be considered, let's say, a very small part of the plan within a greater plan within a greater plan, and so on. So just as part of Capricorn, I just wanted to remind you of the presentation I did earlier in the year for, the whole of 2022. So back to the idea of the plan. We talked last time about the idea of a huge overarching plan. It is very clear that it's going to take us a lot of time to kind of sense, what that plan is all about. However, what we can do for the moment is work towards that and just try in our meditation mostly to kind of turn our attention, to this idea. So if there's a plan, that brings now the idea of something to create. You just don't have a plan if it's going to go nowhere. So when you have a plan, usually it's always with the intention of creating something according to the plan. So obviously, the more we understand, again, individually, collectively, what that plan is, and how we can find our way through that, the easier it is to find the right conditions to implement that plan. Right now on Earth, we have a lot of people having a lot of personal plans. Doesn't mean that these plans really fit in the larger plan. They are typically just very individualized, and very few people have the idea that there is something else. There is a growing number, however, that really have a growing consciousness of a collective, a group consciousness. And more we can see that we are trying to find a way to include others and to include the number that is as big as possible. So this is a clear indication of us collectively to start sensing that beyond our individual plans, there are others, there is a collective. And gradually, as best we can, we are going to integrate that collective dimensions into our personal plans and try to ensure that any personal plans we may have would not create havoc on others or on the nature kingdom on Earth. So as I was saying, with the idea of plan, you have the idea of implementing the plan. So one other aspect of Capricorn is the capacity to manifest, the capacity to create. So I talked previously about that higher kingdom where the notion of plan is much better understood and much better grasped at our level. But what comes with that is the idea that we can create the right conditions for the plan to materialize. So the highest aspect of Capricorn is very much that, creating the conditions for the implementation of a plan. So the more collective and the greater and the more beautiful, the more inclusive the plan, obviously, the better the conditions will be to implement it. So this is part of it. So an interesting aspect also of Capricorn that we don't mention that often is if you have the ability to create the conditions to implement the plan, to make the plan happen, it means at the same time a certain ability to remove those conditions that are no longer appropriate for that plan to unfold. So there is both a constructive and a destructive aspect in Capricorn. ideally always related to the plan. So you really have the plan in mind. This is the goal, this is the intention, and you are going to create the conditions for these plans to happen and create the conditions for the obstacles, for events or conditions, that would prevent that plan from unfolding, to remove them. So there is very much a dual aspect. When there's a plan, when there's something to create, you are talking typically about something that doesn't exist yet. So, excuse me, sorry, that implies that there was something created before. Does that something still need to be here? Can it be taken to the next phase? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So part of the qualities of Capricorn is also to assess what can we carry over, what needs to be maybe reformed, transformed, what needs to be left behind or destroyed. So there's very much a capacity to organize, prepare, assess, and really create all those conditions, whether to create or to destroy or to change. So that's one also of the major ideas in Capricorn. So ideally, when we are all grown-up individual in a few millennia, probably we will understand much better what that means. Right now, it's still fairly conceptual for us. It's still a beautiful idea. However, every year, and every day actually of the year, we do have the opportunity to consciously work along the path of what is the plan? What is the global plan? How could I fit in that plan? What can I create that would work within the larger plan? And when I say what can I create, I should say, yeah, okay, what can I create individually as part of the bigger plan, because I am still an individual. But behind that is the collective question that we can ask ourselves as a society, as humanity. What can we collectively create that would better reflect what we want to see on Earth? Maybe we can create something more beautiful, more just, than what we had in the past. So this is very much all this idea in Capricorn. So quite a plan indeed.